Let's do this the right way. Once again, salute to everybody already here in the building. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raiders. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, I try to do something different in the backyard, and the heat zapped my phone and my laptop, completely overheated. The sun just sniped the whole live stream. So we are back. Salute to everybody. Thank you guys for your patience. Try to smoke a cigar, get cute, go in the backyard, and man, come on, man. The Raider God said, come on, man, stop doing all that. Stop trying to be cute, man. Stop trying to be cute, man. But we are here once again, man. Salute to the chat, man. Salute to Green Dot Gang heavy in the building. If you guys want to become Green Dot Gang, hit the link. It's pinned up top. It definitely helps us keep the lights on over here. As always, salute to Frank, salute to Ben Bad. LT, nasty work, bro. Nasty work, man. Disgusting. Once again, try to do something, out the ordinary. And yeah, salute to Hug. Salute to everybody here. Raven says, bruh, I love you for always coming through with that content. Salute to my guy, dog. I appreciate you, man, as always. Once again, we're going to try this thing again. We are going to talk about the update on Christian Wilkins. It looks as though he is back in the boot. We are going to talk about the rumblings of Daniel Carlson potentially being next in line for his extension out there in Las Vegas. And I want to get your guys' take on this because once again, Carlson is definitely a pivotal, critical piece, to that team. But once again, when you got Colton Miller out there and Jacoby, in line for an extension as well, it kind of, presents some questions that, maybe need answered. But we will talk about that here in a second. But let me present this once again, you guys. We're going to do this. Once again, salute to the chat. I seen this on Instagram. I also seen it on Kyle Van Noy's stories on IG as well. But we're going to go off of Tashawn Reed. Salute to him on Twitter. Christian Wilkins is back in a walking boot. He was in attendance at Kyle Van Noy's charity golf challenge yesterday. It's the same foot where he suffered a Jones fracture last October. So once again, man, this is not really an update. But it's not a good sign to see our guy right back into the boot. His training camp is right around the corner. We are about less than a month away from training camp. The veterans report July 22nd, so less than a month. And then the rooks report July 17th. So it's never a good feeling to know that your star defensive tackle, your big fish that you got in free agency last year that you put over $100 million into, that's a major investment at this point. It sucks to see that he is still in a boot. Hopefully there's some updates here soon. I know that they're trying to play this thing safe, you guys. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, a boot. I think that they're playing this safe, and I think that this is the right way to go about things. And I could be wrong here, you guys. I could be wrong. But let me know what you think about this thought right here. I think with all these rumors coming out about him not wanting to take the second surgery, the Raiders wanting him to take the second surgery, so he could sit for the year and get right for the following season after the next. I think that this is a preventative measure. I think that they're putting him in the boot because I don't think he wants to have another surgery. And I think that he's doing everything that he can in order to stay as healthy as possible once training camp comes around. And maybe this is a sign that he's going to go all out. Maybe he doesn't want to get the second surgery that some people are talking about, the Tony Paulines and other. There's other sources and outlets that are putting it out there that a second, surgery is needed because of, I believe, the screw in his foot. They're nervous that it may break. I don't know the ins and outs of this. I'm not a doctor, but once again, this could be a situation where maybe he's just wearing this as preventative measures to get healthy or to basically take pressure off that foot. So when training camp comes around, he says, hey, let's get it rolling. Now, personally, if you spend this kind of money on the likes of a Christian Wilkins, who is a star in the NFL, he's had great success at Miami. There's a reason why he got the deal with us that he did. Maybe, just maybe, you might want to just, sit out this season, get right, and, pull back up the following season. You have a crazy contract with us. You already pretty much missed the entire season last year. I mean, at this point, you probably just want to end up getting it just so, we can get the best out of you for the next 3 or so years. And then once again, I mean, if you don't get this second surgery, Christian, this may prevent you from getting future deals down the line, So I don't know the ins and outs of this, you guys, but once again, I'm just praying that Christian Wilkins is good to go come training camp. I know a lot of people are tripping. It's never a good sign to see your major investment in the boot, but this could be a preventative thing just to make sure that it takes some pressure off the foot. I'm going to hold off, my conspiracy theories until training camp comes, because once again, I hope that he's ready to go come July 22nd. We shall see if he has a helmet and shoulder pads on and he's good to go. But once again, he was out there at Kyle Van Noy's foundation. I think it's something for his foundation, and boom, a charity for a charity golf challenge. There you have it. And once again, he's back in the boot. Salute.com. Yo, what's up with my bro? Keep me in the family in your prayers. Lost my dad suddenly last Friday. He was a Browns fan. We'll get up. Raiders for life, man. Rest in paradise, man. The Pops.com. My brother, I hate to hear that. Man, that sucks. Man, if everybody in the comment section can put the prayer hands in the chat for our brother, man. Salute the Dot, man. Love you, bro. We need to catch up soon, man. And once again, rest in paradise to Pops. You hate to hear that, man. Nasty, nasty work, man. Salute the Hug. Did Hammer snipe you? You went black and Hammer's emoji popped up. Look mad suspect. Where was LV Max on the security team? This is facts. It's nasty work, man. Nasty work. I deleted it as a whole, so there's no evidence, you guys, that last live stream even happened. It never happened. It never happened. Salute to all the prayer hands in the comment section for ourguy.com, man. I love it, man. Raider Nation is the greatest family and fan base in the world, and it's literally on display right here in the chat, man. .com, my brother. Once again, man, love you and rest in paradise to Pops, man. You know what I mean? That's nasty, man. I hate to hear that, man. For real. Get some questions in, you guys. Let's try and have some fun with the saddening news of us losing one of our own, man. You know what I mean? But let's get a few questions in. Once again, this is not going to be a long live. Just wanted to come in and kind of shoot the shit, kind of give an update on the Christian Wilkins situation. Once again, he is in a boot. He was out there at a charity event, Kyle Van Noy's, and he was in the boot. So, and they are former teammates from their time in Miami. So it's good to see those guys reunite, but it's never good to see, one of your prized free agents out there with the boot on once again. Let me see. He said, should have left it up, double the ad revenue. Jordy, man, I don't want to do that, man. I don't want people to go over there and click it, and the next thing you know, I disappear on some Thanos shit. You know what I mean? The heat, man, that Texas sun is nasty. Man, look, man, I can't wait to get back out west soon, man, because this sun is nasty, disgusting. But once again, man, salute to Tashawn Reed for putting up the picture. I know it was all over the place as well. I chose to use Tashawn Reed's Twitter account to show you guys, for those who are not on social media, that once again, Christian Wilkins is in a boot at this point with less than a month away from training camp. So this is something to monitor moving forward. Salute to Paper Chase, my guy. What's the timeline for Wilkins looking like now? If he misses this entire season, is he even worth keeping, even with the extra cap hit in 2026 and 2027? I know, right? It's kind of nasty, because you think about it like this. He has the surgery. He misses this, a full season with the Raiders this year. And then it's going to take some time for him to get right once again, right? So in year 3, I mean, what do we really expect out of Christian Wilkins if he gets a second surgery at this point? Honestly, what do you expect from him in year 3 with this contract. That's, to me, that's a year where he's just trying to find his footing. He's trying to, he's still in his head about the second surgery. He's just trying to make sure that, he can stay healthy as much as possible, because that's in the back of his mind, having that kind of surgery and then getting back out there and hoping that you can replicate the play that you used to put on tape. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think if he misses this entire season, if he chooses to get this second surgery that people are talking about, it's going to be a rough situation for him to even get prepared for the 2026 season. Because once again, man, that Jones fracture is nasty. It's already tough to overcome, but also with all the weight that he possesses, it's tough. He's not going to be able to really go into the gym and get right. It's going to take some time. It's going to be a process. We've seen what Tyree Wilson looked like, you guys, coming back, missed the entire training camp, with that foot injury, big dude. It took some time for him to find his footing. Last year he started to find it. He even said it himself, kind of after the bye week, he started to find his footing a little bit. So this takes some time, man. It definitely takes some time. So we shall see. But once again, I'm not here to hit the panic button. I think that we're going to be fine. We got some other pieces out there that we can use on that D-line. There's not really anything out there, you guys, in free agency that we can look at who's on the streets in terms of defensive tackles. There's nobody that I think that can come in and kind of bring better than what we already have in that room. But if Christian's not good to go, I'm assuming that the young guys are going to get some burn, and a lot of it in year one, the JJs of the world, and the Tonka Hemingways of the world. So we shall see. Ron, I do too, man. And once again, we have the right coaching staff in place. You have Rob Leonard, who, worked wonders even last year with that defensive line, with Kuntz out, Max out. He was trying to find whatever he could. He kept that unit together. You know what I'm saying? I love Rob Leonard. I think that he will be potentially down the line our future defensive coordinator. I don't want to jump the gun here, but I do believe that he's next in line for that. We got Graham back in the mix. Pete Carroll is a phenomenal defensive mind and just great head coach in general. We have the right pieces in place. So I think we'll be okay. But once again, it's never good to see a guy that you paid a shit ton of money, to come in here, a massive deal, and you're not getting any burn out of him. And once again, it was kind of a freak accident, so it kind of sucks. But it is what it is. Salute to Ira, man. It's always good to see my dog Ira in the building. Damn, it's been a minute. Salute to my guy Ira Jackson. Salute to you, man. Let me see. Who do you think will be the most dynamic rookie we have on this Raiders team? Dynamic is a word to me that describes only two players that we have in this draft class. And that's no knock to anybody else. Okay. I love this draft class as a whole, but dynamic to me screams Ashton Genty. Dynamic screams Dante Thornton Jr. and 6'5", 4'3", 40. That's dynamic to me. So, Tonka and JJ to be determined, to be continued. I don't want to put anything out there. Darian Porter can fit the billing as well, though. I think that he could be a guy that they already look at as a starter. It looks like he was already getting starting reps at OTAs and mandatory minicamp, but maybe he could be a dynamic piece, former wide receiver converted to corner. That could be one of those guys that could be a dynamic guy on this team from day one. But I'm gonna pump the brakes on the Tommy touchdown. We've seen what he did at Montana State. He's definitely a dynamic playmaker, but once again, where does he fit with this roster? Where does he fit with this team? Is he going to be a special teams guy in year one? Is he going to be a guy that's kind of a gadget player? Is he going to be a guy that gets a ton of reps in the slot, some wildcat looks? We don't know what we're going to get out of him yet. And then Cam Miller is going to be on the bench the next few seasons as Geno is the guy at the helm. So, and then, once again, I wouldn't call either of those offensive linemen, Caleb Rogers or Charles Grant, dynamic. That's no knock to them. I think they're going to be great at the next level. And then Jack Besh to me is dynamic. That's not, for me, the word to describe Jack Besh. He is a Swiss Army knife. He just does everything right. Great route runner. Doesn't have a ton of speed, but he has sure hands. He can block well. He can play on the boundary. He can play in a slot. He's versatile. But once again, I don't think that he's a dynamic player. At least I could be wrong. And I love Jack Besh. You guys know I was probably one of the only people that had the Raiders drafting him during the process. I had him as in my final mock draft. always had him there in the third round, in which we traded back multiple times and got him there in the second. Shock. Great question. Do you think Besh could turn into a Tim Brown type of guy that's always reliable and puts up solid numbers from year to year? That's a ton of pressure to put on him, Shock. This is a Hall of Famer in Tim Brown, another guy that was drafted in the top 10, one of the greatest wide receivers to ever live. I know what you mean, very reliable. Mr. Raider was always out there. It didn't matter who the quarterback was. He was always productive. He always found ways, to get his issue right. But that's a ton of pressure to put on the year one guy at TCU. I don't think so. I think that if you want to compare him to anybody, it's Jacoby Myers. I think Jacoby Myers is a great guy to compare to, because once again, they do most of the same stuff: the route running ability, the blocking, the being able to play multiple positions at wide receiver on the outside and the inside. So I would say personally, Jacoby Myers. That's kind of what I would. And I like what Ron just said too. Besh will be a Renfro guy. I like that. Renfro had one big year for us. When it seemed as though all our playmakers at the wide receiver position were going out. The Ruggs situation happened and all this other stuff was going on. He stepped up big, Pro Bowl year, so on and so forth. But I expect him to have a way more impact on this team going forward than Renfro. I do. I think this guy can be a guy that can put up 1,000 yards a season. It's going to take some time, because in year one, they're trying to get Thornton involved. Where's Jacoby in the grand scheme of things? Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, who sounds like he's in before a big year this year with Chip Kelly calling the O. And then Trey Tucker, another guy that they have really high hopes for in year 3 out of Cincinnati. So I think he's going to be a lot better than Renfro. I do. Maybe that's a bad take. Maybe some of you guys don't agree with me. But once again, outside of one big year from Renfro, it wasn't a ton of production. You know what I mean? Like, he had a massive year for us that year when we found our way into the playoffs. Definitely stood up, stood tall when we needed someone to step up. But once again, I don't see him being I think he'll be more productive than Renfro. I see him as a Jacoby Myers type guy. You know what I mean? That can kind of hover in that 800, 700, 800, 900 range. And then, a year or so down the line, potentially put up over 1K as he finds his footing in the NFL and gets accustomed to the speed of the game. Salute, man. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you guys are not subscribed yet, what are y'all waiting on? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Salute the Loud Dog once again. I literally feel like Tommy Touchdown can turn into a Wes Welker or Brandon Stokely in the next couple of years. I would love that. I remember watching Stoke in Indianapolis do his thing. I definitely remember Wes Welker, out there in New England. That if we can get anything near that, we're in for a ride with Tommy Touchdown. So it's going to be interesting. He's a big question mark to me, Law. I don't know where they see him and where he fits, in the grand scheme of things out there in Las Vegas. I hope that, they find a way to get him involved in the offense. I think that he is, definitely a dynamic playmaker. There's that word dynamic again. But once again, I can't say that he's going to be dynamic this year because I don't know where he fits. There's so many weapons, you guys. Like, who are you going to take out of the slot? You're not going to take Besh out of the slot for him. You're not going to take Brock, who's going to be playing all over the place. There's just so many weapons. I don't know where they're going to find Tommy Touchdown, reps. Honestly, I don't know. Let me see. John Chef, man, my dog, man. It's always good to see my bro in the building as well. Any truth that Tommy, do you mean Eichenberg, Dan? Do you mean Tommy Eichenberg? I didn't hear anything about that. I have not heard anything about Tommy Eichenberg being on the trade block. I can say this. If he was, would it make sense? Yeah. I mean, they just drafted Cody Lindenberg. So in the 7th round, a new regime, they don't really have any connection to Tommy Eichenberg. But I don't think there's anything behind that. I haven't heard that anywhere. So let me know, Dan, where'd you hear that at? But once again, I think that Cody Lindenberg and Tommy Eichenberg kind of do the same thing, at the linebacker position. So I don't know if, maybe they look at Lindenberg, as their guy who was getting some green dot looks out there at minicamp and OTAs over Tommy Eichenberg. So you see. Okie, that's a great question, man. And this may sound bad, or it may sound like I'm kind of cheating here a little bit, but it's our first round guy. It's literally Ashton Genty. This is what we've been waiting for, you guys. This guy, when you get the pads on, he is a bowling ball. A lot of those yards are after contact. He kind of just bounces off defenders and finds ways to just create major plays. I am excited to see him when the pads come on. I am. And I'm also excited to see my guy Dante, because all the great things that we're hearing about Dante are with the pads off. I want to see if he can continue to replicate that with the pads on. The heat is different out there in Las Vegas, more than he's accustomed to in Tennessee and Oregon. So we're going to see what it looks like when he gets those pads on. But I would say Ashton Genty, easy, because once again, I want to see what that looks like out there against NFL caliber. Well, not NFL caliber, they're NFL players, against NFL players, against the likes of a Max Crosby, who's not going to let up just because he's his teammate. Malcolm Kuntz is not going to let up just because he's his teammate. I'm excited to see the Silver Surfer get the pads on and get rolling. Salute to Okie, man, my dog. Q, my guy, man, I appreciate you, my brother. With Tommy's versatility, you can put him anywhere on the field. Knowing Chip back from his Oregon days, he got something up his sleeve for Tommy. Talk that shit, Q. Talk. I love it. Great $5 super chat. Salute to you, my brother. Yes, he can definitely do a ton, man. This is facts. Salute to Hug, my dog. I've been saying it since October. Ask Docs. I wanted Genty while we were still losing in 2024. No cap in his rap at all. I mean, I think that Hug's seen it for what it was, right? I mean, we couldn't run the football effectively, and he lives in Idaho, and he sees that week in and week out what he can do out there. Definitely. Hug was calling this from day one. Facts. You too. Me too, man. Hopefully, Pete Carroll can find that magic that he's found with a plethora of other DBs at the NFL level. If anybody can do it in year one, it's Pete Carroll. There's a reason that they used an early round draft pick to go bring in the likes of a Darian Porter, even though how raw he was. I'm not against this. I think that he could be a baller in year one. I think that they have high hopes for him. He's very, very athletic. The speed is something you can't teach. 6'4", big body, lean guy. Like, this guy has all the intangibles of being a phenomenal corner at the next level. And if anybody can unlock that, it's definitely Pete Carroll. Let me see. Salute once again, man. I'm going to ask you guys this. So Vinny B put it out there that it looks as though Daniel Carlson is in line for a contract extension here soon. We talked about this probably a month or so ago, you guys, about Carlson, getting a new deal. He has 1 year left on his deal, and rightfully so. Bring him back. I don't think it's going to cost you an arm and a leg at all, right? To bring in Daniel Carlson. I mean, look what it costs to bring in our all-pro punter. This is special teams, you guys. It's not going to cost you an astronomical amount of money to bring in the likes of Daniel Carlson. He's been with us, I believe, for 7 or 8 seasons. I think 8 years now. He's had some phenomenal seasons. He has some up and down kind of moments, but he's still a guy that, you can't move on from unless you can find a better replacement. And I don't know what better replacement is out there at this point. I think he deserves an extension. I don't think it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but I want to ask you guys this. And once again, it may be a little easier to get Carlson's deal out of the way. It is because of Colton Miller being a left tackle and the kind of money that comes with that, and Jacoby, being our wide receiver one up to this point, and the kind of money that comes with that. You're looking at north of $20 million per for both of those guys potentially, right? So it's a lot easier to get Daniel Carlson's deal done, get it solidified. We have that 1-2 punch at the kicker and punter for the foreseeable future. But I want to ask you guys this: if we end up getting Carlson's deal done before Colton Miller and Jacoby, does that worry you guys? Does that worry you guys? Do you think that they're worrying that they're putting somebody over somebody that may not play a critical position like a Colton Miller? And mind you, kicker is someone that plays he has a massive impact on the game, but he's not a left tackle. Jacoby, I get it. Receiver, those kind of, come and go. So, but Carlson and Colton Miller, at this point, it's like, I would like to see both deals get done pretty close together. I think Colton needs a new deal. I think that he needs to be valued over anybody else that are looking for a new deal, including Jacoby, including Daniel Carlson. I think that Colton has to be the guy. He has been very patient this offseason, you guys. He has said all the right things. He wants to be here, so on and so forth. And he means it, from Northern California, from Sacramento, the Sacramento area. I believe he's from Roseville. Grew up watching the Raiders, Niners out there. He wants to be here. Okay, one of the last Oakland Raiders left, including Daniel Carlson. But does this kind of worry you guys a little bit? I want to ask you, do you think that we should get Carlson's deal done before the likes of a Colton Miller or a Jacoby Myers? Once again, there's a way that you can get both done. You can get all three done, honestly. But does this worry you a little bit? Let me know in the comment section, because I definitely believe that Colton needs to be priority number one in terms of contract negotiations and getting that rolling, getting it going. Honestly, man, because Charles Grant is not ready to go yet. He's young, coming from a small school of William and Mary. It's gonna be some growing pains there with him. And then once again with Mumford, do you trust him to play left tackle, moving forward if Colton decides to hold out or so on and so forth? I think you need to get that done, because I said this on a few shows ago. If you do not get Colton Miller's deal done and he chooses to hold out and this trickles into the season, we may be in for a rough ride, because that affects the ground game. It affects Geno Smith, and his timing. That affects the receivers. It affects Brock. It just affects the entire offense. I think you need to find a way to get Colton Miller's deal done soon. I said that too, MGs. Colton away some of his leverage, saying he wants to be ready. This is facts. But also, I think that he understands that he has all the power in this situation. It's like, look, I said everything right now. Fan base is on my side. I think my teammates are on my side. Get it done now, or when it gets closer to training camp, my sentiments may change. Like, look, I said everything. I wanted to be here, but hey, I'm not going to go out there and potentially hurt myself at training camp with no guaranteed money left on the books. So Kenny says Myers is more important. I disagree. I honestly, I love Jacoby, and I want to keep him around for a long time. He's still 28. He'll be 29 this year. But once again, I think that they already addressed his replacement. I think that they went and got his replacement in Jack Besh. I do. I think that they do most of the same things. And I big question mark with Jacoby in that extension. If they bring him back, rightfully so, deservingly so. But I do believe, you guys, that they went and got a guy in Jack Besh that pretty much does a lot of the same things as Jacoby. But he is a locker room leader. He's a leader on the field. He does all the great things, all the dirt, like all the dirty, the blocking, just everything. He does everything right. But once again, I value a left tackle over a wide receiver 10 times out of 10. Wilkins is never suiting up for the Raiders. Typical Raider curse shit. Laugh out loud. Salute to Daniel, man. Appreciate you. My brother becoming be a member for 12 months, a year here next month, man. Salute to my guy, man. Salute to my guy. Let me see. I think I missed some. Salute to my guy, Cane Town, my brother, on a $5 smackaroonie. How much does our defense change with Pete Carroll? Are we still running PG scheme? Are we running Pete's scheme? Is it a hybrid? I believe it's going to be a hybrid, Cane Town. I don't think that you completely come in and change everything that Graham has done up to this point. Graham has been, good for us, at times great. With all the injuries that we sustained last year, the year prior, it's been some tough things to deal with on the defensive side of the football for Patrick Graham. I just think that, Pete's going to come in and shed some light on a few of the weaknesses. Once again, I talked about this several times about protecting the middle of the football field. It feels like since Graham has come in, that's been like our Achilles heel on the defensive side of the football, is just tight ends just eating up the middle of the football field, receivers just eating up the middle of the football field. I just think that Pete's going to come in, sprinkle some of that, some of that ism on the defense. And I think that him and Graham are going to work hand in hand. I don't believe that Pete's going to come in and just, put his scheme out there and just completely take away from what Graham is trying to do out there on the defensive side of the ball. So I look at it more as a hybrid thing. Him kind of just, the secret sauce, so to speak. Graham is coming out there and kind of filling in the blanks with some of the weaknesses that we've had these past few seasons under Graham on the defensive side of the ball. Salute to my guy, Kane Tizzle, my dog, man. I appreciate you, brother. Let me see. Flores says, love Daniel C., but he needs to prove it this year. Man, he's had some ups and downs, man. You know, I'm not here to act as though Carlson has been the greatest kicker for us. He's missed some kicks. He's made some big kicks. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, at one point, I remember, what was it, in 2021, you guys, that he was perfect at Allegiant Stadium? We were like, man, this is a phenomenal pickup, because we remember he struggled in Minnesota and they let him go. But, you know, hey, man, it's difficult to find even a good kicker in the NFL, you guys. I mean, look at the Niners. Look how much they've struggled. They 2 runs to the Super Bowl that a really bad kicker that definitely helped prevent them from at least getting 1 Super Bowl. So it's not easy to find a good kicker, let alone a great kicker. So you can't just let Daniel Carlson walk. You can't, you know, and once again, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to bring him back. Josh, I agree. Minnesota cut him when he had an off year and then they regretted it. He can figure it out again. This is facts. Yeah, facts, man. Facts, G's. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you guys are not subscribed yet, what are y'all waiting on, man? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Once again, I wasn't planning on doing a live today, you guys. Just wanted to come kind of kick it with my guys. It's been a few days. I think I haven't been live for about 2.5 days. We're going to get back to our members only shows this week as well. So if you guys want to be a part of those, hit the link. It's pinned up top. And it definitely, man, it definitely helps us once again keep the lights on over here at OLV Raiders Network. Me and Wasted will be doing a show this week. And then also I'm going to be reaching out to a few other of you guys' favorite content creators and try to get them involved in some of the shows this week as well. CGR, I'm not leaving yet, brother. I'm still kicking it. Man. We only 31 minutes and we can at least do 45, right? We can at least do 45. So get some questions and you guys. Salute the Dangerfield, my dog in the building. Let me see. He said Carlson's probably struggling because he only kicked like 12 field goals all year. Talk that talk, my brother. Let me see. I can't recall another season in recent memory with so much hope and uncertainty. Usually we are just hoping. Facts. Facts plus tax. Somebody block Ant. Get him the hell out of here, man. Ain't no gray dot shows, bro. It's just not happening. IA, once again, he was spotted with the boot on at Kyle Van Noy's celebrity golf tournament, I believe. So there's no real update. We don't know really what the hell is up with him and what's going on. Once again, you guys, let's just continue to listen to our head coach when he tells us this is going to be a long journey. You know, I don't think we need to listen to anybody else. I don't think we need to listen to any content creators, any beat writers. I don't think anybody really understands the severity of this situation outside of our upper management, you know, the doctors that have worked with Christian Wilkins and Christian Wilkins. So, you know, but, you know, we are Raider fans, right? And I'm a Raider content creator, and I'm here to, you know, discuss what they got going on with Christian Wilkins. Let me see. Welcome, Brokey. Here, man, you get cookies and you don't always have to donate any change, man. Salute to my guy, man. It's all love, brother. It's all love, man. Let me see. That's crazy, Hug. I always wondered. I'm like, why is Martin and Ant just missing these? I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on with them. They're always in the chat, right? They're always supporting what we got going on over here. I have no clue how all those memberships just continue to elude Martin and Ant. I don't get it. Let me see. Salute to CGR, my dog. One of the greatest Raider content creators out there. Salute to my guy. Let me see. Yeah, this is facts, Dangerfield. Facts. Definitely you have to consider the weight that this guy possesses, man. It's not going to be an easy pill to swallow. This is an easy transition from that kind of injury, you know, and that kind of weight. And not even just that, the punishing game that he plays. You know what I mean? He's going up against some of the biggest dudes on the football field. Those O-linemen out there in the NFL, man. It's not an easy easy job to get done. There's going to be so much pressure on that foot. You know what, Jonathan? I'm not worried at all, to be honest. I think it sucks. I do. I think it sucks, but you know, I'm one of them people, man, that understands what comes with this game. It's a violent game. It's a violent game. You know what I mean? I played it not at the highest level at all, but you know, I played it my entire life and never got to the point where these guys are. You know what I mean? But I've been around the game my entire life. I see it for what it is. I used to go to damn near. I've been to so many games in Oakland. I went to a ton of road games. You know, I see it up close and personal. This is a violent football game. It comes with the territory, man. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. You know, now, was I worried about Max last year? Yes, because that is the leader of this team. That is the best football player that we have on this team. You know, when you see a leader like that go down, you definitely get worried. You know, if God forbid something happens to Geno Smith, I'm worried because that affects the entire chemistry of this football team. You know what I mean? Like if Ashton Genty, God forbid something happened to him, I'm going to worry because he is like this point, the motor of that offense. You know what I mean? I think that we have enough bodies out there that we can account for Christian Wilkins. Not saying that Christian Wilkins isn't the best defensive tackle that we have on this team, because he definitely is. And I think by a long shot. But you got Adam Butler out there. You just gave him a new deal. You know, once again, you have two guys that you just drafted in JJ and Tonka. And then you got a slew of other bodies out there that could potentially add some value. The Laki Tasis, the Fotus, I always butcher his name, and Jonah Lalu as well. We got other guys. So I'm not too much worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Once again, but if something happened to some of those other guys, I'd definitely be concerned. The Maxes of the world, the Genos, the Ashton Genties, that would hurt. A Brock Bowers, you know, a guy that every defense has to account for every single snap. You know, with Christian Wilkins, it's like, hey, man, you know, hey, figure it out. The good thing is, Jonathan, that we have so much time to figure it out. This has trickled on to the offseason. First, we seen him with the boot on at Max Crosby's draft party. And now it's like, okay, well, at least we know that we're in for a long ride here. And Pete Carroll and these guys can work on the fly and figure out another plan there at the defensive tackle position. So the good thing is it didn't happen in training camp right before week one, you know, or anything like that, where it's like a Malcolm Kuntz freak accident where it's like, oh, my God, now we have to figure out what the hell we're going to do with our edge rushing position opposite of Max Crosby, right before the season starts. You know, we kind of had time right here to figure it out, which is great. And I agree with you. It'd be DT by committee. Facts. They're going to rotate bodies in and out there at that defensive tackle spot. Hug, my brother. I appreciate you gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships. Man, salute to the GOAT himself and the Mod Father himself. Salute to the 5 new members because of my brother Hug. If you missed out on those, hit the link. It's pinned up top. And salute to the other Mod Father, one of the other guys in the building, CGR. My brother, I appreciate you for everything that you do for the channel. And salute to all the new members in the building because of CGR. If you missed out on those 10, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Once again, you guys, we will be doing another members-only show this week sometime, so stay tuned for that. You have to become a member. Doesn't matter. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Right now, I believe we have 4 Tier 3 members. You guys, reach out to me. If you guys ever want to come on the show, that is a perk for those members-only shows. If you want to pull up on screen and talk ball with me, all good. Tier 3, you can pull up on the screen any members-only show you want, and we can talk football together. So, Tier 3, if you want to come on a live screen and talk your shit. Let me see. If Geno gets hurt, and it is possible in a violent game, Pete got to get AOC ready to roll. You ain't never lied. At all. I was looking at AI or IA's name in the chat while I said at all. At all. This is facts. Facts plus tax. And you know what, man? If it's not Aiden, they better have Cam ready to go. One of those guys. Shit, Carter. One of them. Justice for Anthony and Martin. This is facts, man. I don't know how they keep missing out. But if I could hand personally 2 members, I can't hand them out to specific people. I would hand them out to Martin and Ants hating ass as well. Let me see. We talked about Christian Wilkins once again wearing the boot out there at Calvin Noy's charity golf event. We talked about Vinny B mentioning that Daniel Carlson is next in line for his extension, with Colton Miller with 1 year left on his deal, with Jacoby Myers with 1 year left on his deal, which is kind of interesting. Flores said, I had to miss both the members only shows so far. When do you say the next one is? It'll be probably sometime in the middle of the week, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. Stay tuned, Flores. I'll put it in the community tab, and I'll also promote it on Twitter and Instagram as well. So stay tuned, brother. And once again, we go over there, we kick it 30, 45 minutes, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Andy, you're not saving anything. You're not saving anything at all. I think if you cut them this year, you're saving like 200,000. Let me see. I want to bring this up. And then after that, it's a ton of money. Ton of money. Contract. All right, let me look at his contract deal. I'm going to go to over the cap. So he has a cap number this year of 10.3. Let me see, 2020 or 2025. I'm sorry. This year he has a cap hit of 18.1. 8 million of that is guaranteed. Workout bonus of 92,000, 408,000 per game roster bonus. Also 9.9 million in signing bonus. If you move on from him, this is nasty, bro. There's a ton of dead money. Ton of dead money. It's actually gross. Dead money and cap savings, 74.9 million. Yeah, man. You're not saving any money, you guys. You're just not. You're not. And then it gets even worse, I believe, the following seasons. Dead money of 57 million in 2026, and dead money of 19.8 in 2027. So in 2028, it gets a little bit more easier. You only have 9.9 of dead money with zero cap savings there. But it's a ton of dead money. This year, 74, and then cap savings of 56.8. 2026 dead money, 57, cap savings 19.3. Then 2027 dead money of 19.8, cap savings of 13.8. So at the end of the contract, it gets a little bit more easier to move on from that contract. I know it was a ton of numbers I just threw at you guys, but let's see. Yeah, this is the picture's definitely goated. Definitely. Salute to Kenny Raiders. Let's make this season epic like that Jamar Chase curve. Man, I love to see that. I love to see that, man. I just love to see shit like that. More of these guys need to do that. I don't know if you guys seen it. I believe it was in like New York City at some type of event or something like that. And yeah, man, some nose ring, no booger, nose ring. Some woman with a fat fake ass tried to walk up and hug him, and Jamar kind of gave her one of these and kept it pushing. And she looked at him like, I love it. Normalize that shit. Normalize it. Normalize it, Kings. You love to see it. Salute to Kenny Raiders, man. Salute to Jamar Chase. Let me see. Ron Justice, it's all love, brother. Alex says you missed all the things. Facts plus text. Oh, that was a BBL for sure. As someone that has worked in strip clubs, in every one of them in Atlanta, like the strip club capital of the world, and I'm talking about from Magic to, I mean, every single club that you can think of in Atlanta. I've worked security, I've worked all kind of shit. You know, I did everything from valeting to helping the girls to their cars, all that shit. I can tell you right now, that was a nasty BBL. Disgusting. And I can tell you probably 10 times out of 10, it probably stank. Just nasty work. Ugh. She looked like she probably got a bunch of McDonald's fries in her back seat. Maybe a few high heels stashed under the, nasty work. Disgusting. Yeah, you hate to see it. So, yeah, man. LT, I mean, that's all you're seeing these days. This is facts. Facts, man. Yeah. But that BBL definitely smelled like cavities. Facts. Facts. Oh, yeah. This is facts. You know that shit looks disgusting. Looks like the spaghetti bowl. It looks just like the spaghetti bowl. Any real one knows about the spaghetti bowl. You know what I mean? It just looks like that. A stained spaghetti bowl. That's exactly what a microwave looks like. Facts. Salute to Jamar Chase. Let me see. Brave. Never that, brother. Never that. Yo, salute to my guy, Brave. Let me see. Get a few more comments in, you guys, before we get out of here. Once again, man, salute to the chat. As always, I appreciate you. We went from talking about football to strippers. Love to see it, man. Love how the story, always changes over here at OLV Raiders Network, man. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, man, make sure you guys wipe them feet, hit them thumbs up. If you are not subscribed yet, what are y'all waiting on? Hit that subscribe button. Yes, Ron Justice, this week the Graphk and Gout show will be back. For those who are wondering, Graphk and Wasted and Graphk will be back very soon. So stay tuned. Yo, Hug, you stupid, bro. Graphk was definitely doing work under the name Dancing Docs. Y'all ain't shit. Other than that, man, let me get the hell out of here, y'all. We'll be back sometime this week with the members-only show, with the Graphk and Wasted show. And then once again, I'm working on something with a few other content creators, so stay tuned. Maybe an AFC West show. I'm going to reach out to my brother Sanjit as well, see if we can get one of our shows together. We want to end the month strong. This was a nasty month, you guys. Slow motion in the football stratosphere. But we're getting closer and closer to football. Training camp is right around the corner, less than a month away. July 17th, Rooks Report. July 22nd, the Vets Report. So we're going to have a ton of content on the way. Once again, we're going to end the month off with a bang. Got about 6 days left. So we'll try to fit in maybe 2 or 3 more shows as the month unfolds. But other than that, man, as always, love you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. See y'all soon. I'm out. 1.